This is RGES Algebra 1, Lesson 15B, Part 2, and this is the review of your test. So go ahead and make sure you have your test handy and follow along one problem at a time, making corrections every time you missed a problem. I would suggest that you watch that problem all the way through and then you pause and try to make the corrections on your own and check it one more time. So, for part 1, the first problem, we are going to gather our like terms. Simplifying both the left and the right side of the equation. Then we're going to take our number to the right. We're adding now, so we're going to subtract. And 22 minus 8 is going to be 14. 14 plus 8 is 22. And then we're going to divide. We're going to take that 7. We're multiplying now, so we're going to divide. And x equals 14 divided by 7, or 2. To check it, I would plug it in. 3 to the original equation. 3 times 2 plus 4 times 2 plus 8. Does that equal 22? Well, you would have 6 plus 8 plus 8. 8 plus 8 is 16, plus 6 more is, in fact, 22. Number 2. First thing we do is simplify both sides of the equation. On the left side, we can simplify it by gathering like terms. 7 minus 6 is just 1. 1x. Don't forget the x. Now we need to take our 4 to the other side. We're subtracting now, so we want to add. And x equals 5 plus 4, which is 9. Again, to check it, you're going to take the 7 times 9 minus 4 minus 6 times 9, and you're asking yourself, does that indeed equal 5? This would be 63 minus 4 minus 6 times 9 is 54. Does that equal 5? Well, 63, minus 54 is 9, and 9 minus 4 is 5. So yes. The third problem is going to be 2x minus 5x plus 13 plus 9x equals 67. Now here's a little bit trickier. It's still the only thing we need to simplify is the left side, not the right side. But notice what we have for gathering like terms is we have 3 terms here. So I'm going to do the positives first. 2 and 9 is 11. 11 minus 5 is 6x plus 13 equals 67. I'm going to take my number to the right side. Right now I'm adding it, so I'll subtract. And 7 minus 3 is 4, and 6 minus 1 is 5. Then I will divide, because right now I'm multiplying, so I need to divide by 6, and 54 divided by 6 is 9. First thing I need to do is distribute, so I can simplify the left side. I'm going to get 5x plus 15 minus 2x equals negative 21. I'm going to combine my x's. 3x plus 15 equals negative 21. I'm going to take my 15 to the other side by subtracting. Negative 21 minus 15, same signs, so we're going to add those. That'd be 36, and it'll be a negative. So again, you've got to be really comfortable with your sign numbers so that you can do this with accuracy. Now I'm going to divide, because right now I'm multiplying by 3, so I want to divide by 3. It's going to divide, a negative divided by a positive is going to be negative, and 36 divided by 3 is going to be 12. 6x minus 28 equals 8x. I could either take the x's over to this side by subtracting 6x, so I'll do that. I'll get negative 28 equals 8 minus 6, or 2x, and then I need to divide because I'm solving for x. And it'll say x on this side, divide by 2 on this side, be negative 14. I could leave it that way or write x equals negative 14, whichever you prefer, it doesn't matter. 6, 4x times x plus 3 equals 6x. I need to distribute, so I'll get 4x plus 12 equals 6x. Becomes like the last problem. I'll take my 4 to the right. So 6x minus 4x is 2x equals 12. I'll divide by 2, and x equals 6. So I've explained several of these. This is the same way. One of you just had a little accuracy issue with your arithmetic, and you'll have to see what you identify, what you missed there. Now, the next one, it says solve for x. Basically, you understood what you were doing here. We want to isolate the x by subtracting. 9v minus 3v equals 6v. Now, the problem you might have had was just saying 6 and leaving off the v, so don't forget your variable there. Next problem, very similar as far as what you might have missed there. ax over 6 equals 2b. If I look at everything on the left side except for my x, I've got a over 6. So I'm going to multiply by the reciprocal, 2b, times 6 over a. 2 times 6 is 12, and then don't forget you've got a b and an a. So you're making some mistakes by ignoring those variables there. Okay. For our next problem, we're going to distribute and gather like terms. Notice we cannot solve. This is just evaluating because we have no equal sign. So we're going to have an expression when we're done. 5x plus 20 minus 6x. Negative times negative is a positive. 3 times 7 is 21. Gathering like terms, if we have 5x minus 6x, we're going to get negative x, and 20 plus 21 is going to get 41. And that's how we simplify that. Now the next ones are going to be my FOIL. Not too much problem here. First terms, x squared. Outer is plus 2x, inner is plus 7x. Combine them, you get plus 9x, and 7 times 2 is 14. Next problem. 3 times 4 is 12, x squared. Outer terms plus 3x, inner terms minus 20x, minus 20 plus 3 is minus 17x. Negative times a positive is going to be negative, and 5 times 1 is going to be 5. That's a 5. For the next one, you could either remember your pattern or you can write it out and FOIL it. Either way, it's going to be square the first term, x squared, multiply them together and double it, and square the last term. Again, for the next one, something squared, binomial squared, you're going to square the first term, 4x squared, multiply together, minus 6x, double it, minus 12x, square the last term, negative times negative is positive, and 3 times 3 is 9. Okay, we're going to factor here. We're thinking of two binomials. We'll have an x and an x, two numbers that multiply together to give me 4, and they are going to add to a 5, so that would have to be 4 and 1, and they'd both have to be negative. Now I'm going to run through the next ones here. Okay, did the second one, same thing. What two numbers multiply together give me 21, and they sum to a negative 10. The third one, same thing. Always check FOIL to go back. Okay, negative 6x plus 2x is negative 4x minus 12. Now, when we get to number 4, I'm putting out all my multipliers, and none of those will have a difference of 20. This is the closest, but that's a difference of 21. So this is prime. It does not factor. Now these are a little trickier when we have a number before the, let's see, we're looking at 6, 7, and 8. These are a little trickier because we have two numbers to consider, but this one of the three is the easiest because a 5 only has a 5 and a 1, so I would put a 5x here, but I can't put a 5x here. 5 times 1 is 5, so that would be my, and 3 times 1 is here. Okay, so it'd be 5 and x, or 1x, and then I have to decide, should I put my 3 here and my 1 here, or should I put it where my 3 would go on the inside and my 1 would go on the outside? So that's the only question in this one. Well, you need to have that so that they sum together to give me 8. So 5 and 3 would be 8, and they'll both be positive, just like that. 3 and 5. Okay. Let's talk about the next one. Again, I've made these a little easier than they could be. The only pair I have here would be a 3 and a 1, and the only pair I have here would be a 5 and a 1. So I'm going to start with 3x and x, and now the question is, do I align my 1 there and my 5 on the inside, or my 5 there? Well, I need 16 in all, so I better align my 3 times 5 to get 15 of them, and one more is 16. Again, they have to be 5 and 1 on the right side, 3 and 1 on the left side. Okay, not taking into account the variable. Now they're both negative to give me negative 16. Last one here in this group. Little trick here. Again, my only pair here is going to be 3 and 1, but here it could either be a 4 and a 1 or a 2 and a 2. So I am trying to make these a little easier for you by not giving you as many options. Now recall, you always have to have your variable there too, so don't leave off the variable on the left-hand side. Now on the right-hand side, it's either going to be a 4 and a 1 or a 2 and a 2. I need a negative 8 when I've added them together. So if I have a 4 and a 1 here, I'm going to get 4 and 3. That is not 8, so that's not it. What if I had the 1 here and the 4 here? I'm going to get a 12 and a 1. That still does not give me 8. So now I know it has to be a 2 and a 2. Now check it. Okay, it's going to be negative, so it's going to be negative 6 and negative 2. That'll be negative 8. Always check these. Okay, let me go to the next page. New idea. Recall that this is something squared and this is something squared, but I don't have a middle term. So if I don't have a middle term, the middle terms had to cancel each other by having one be an addition and one being a subtraction. So the square root of that would be 2x. Square root of 25 would be 5, and now notice what happens. If one is positive and the other is negative, the first terms are going to be 4x squared. The outer and inner are going to be positive 10 and negative 10, so they'll cancel each other out, and the last terms will be minus 25. This is called the difference of squares, so you'll want to review that. Both of you had trouble with that. Again, 3x and 3x. Maybe not all of you had trouble with it. And then 7 and 7, one positive, one negative. The middle terms drop out. 11 and 12. I recognize these as what's called a perfect square trinomial. So what I have here is the square root of that and the square root of this, the second or the last term, and the middle term is the product doubled. So that will be that, a special pattern. Or you can go ahead and just do it the old-fashioned binomial way, but this is a shortcut. X squared is going to be x times something. 64 is going to be 8 times 8. And if I multiply them together, I get 8x and double it. I get 16x. So I want to put a plus there because I have a plus 16x and square the whole. Convince yourself. Go back to this and use FOIL and see how it works to this special pattern, perfect square trinomial. Now that is all. I've kind of run out of time, so I'm going to do I'll do the word problems when I get back with you.